All right. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Jonathan, aka Choose, aka Noir, brother. Who are you to the left, brother?
All right, what's good, everybody? I go by the name of King Exodus, aka X.
Man, guys, I got somebody special coming to the podcast, y'all. When I say special, I mean special, man. We go back a couple years, man. We used to be in the same joint ventures. But let me tell you a little background about this guy, man. My boy's from Detroit, man. Straight out the D. Straight out the D. You might as well. We got to make sure we get all that right. All right. As I go on this journey with this young man next to the side of me, man, he helped inspire me in a lot of different ways. I was one of those people that was very in touch with the physical world to a point where I could see what he was seeing at that point in time, right? I used to feel kind of, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of weird for me at first, man. I seen him hugging the tree, and I'm like, yo, what is he doing? But this guy has amazing talent. I always love this spirit, man. We stayed in contact even after the business ventures. But I gotta bring y'all to the stage. This is my man Kyle Crockett, aka Mr. Shakur, aka Mr. Barter's World. Hello. That's how you coming in. That's how you coming in.
Okay. Pay a couple of bills. Make sure y'all tap into the YouTube channel, Facebook, IG, Talking That Talk Official Podcast, Twitter, Talk That Talk 100, TikTok, Talking That Talk Official.
Right.
As usual, we appreciate everybody that's tapping in via IG Live. All right, so let's do this, man. Let's go.
All right. Let's get this going, man. Let's go ahead and get it. One question I want to ask you first, man. Tell the viewers, why is Shakur your name, man? I know we got the government, but why did you choose Shakur?
So I'm gonna give you the cliche, like Shakur chose me. But I was watching a Afeni Shakur. No. I was watching a Sada Shakur documentary, and then the thought that came to mind was like, "That's my mom." And I'm like, "No, that's my spiritual mom." So I was like, "All right," I took in the moniker Shakur, and then Afari came after that. I was reading the Kabbalah. And, I looked in the mirror and it said, ask yourself a God question. It said, who am I? And it said, when you ask yourself that, stare at yourself in the eyes because that's the gateway to the soul. And then listen. And so listen and silent is an anagram, so they spelled the same letter. So when I heard from that, I heard Afari and it spelled it out Afari. So I was like, okay, that's not English. I looked it up and it was like a tribe in Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia. So I was like Somali. So I'm like, dang, I was just studying that through my fraternity. And then after that, I was like, well, let me see what they look like. And I was like, oh man, I look just like them. So I was like, man, that's it. Afari Shakur. That's the short version of my name.
Okay.
Cool. And a lot of people don't know Shakur is Arabic for thankful to God. And Sada Shakur is Tupac's aunt. So putting that out there. So, going further into the conversation, brother, what particular spiritual practice would you say that you subscribe to? Not one specifically if it's not, but however diverse you want to answer the question.
Not one particular. What I did was I studied different things on my journey, on my voyage, and then I just integrated those things. So stuff that didn't add value to me, I discarded it. Things that did, I integrated it. And something that most people don't know, but if you look up the etymology with spirit meaning, it means breath.
All right, man. I mean, we just gonna go back and forth. That's what we do. But I'm the one that go ask some questions, man. Man, this dude is right. Man, I told you this the guy.
You know him already.
All right, y'all. So y'all check this out, man. Like, my man got many talents, right? There's a certain object right here in front of us that he had built for me. Can you break it down? I asked him. I said, look, man, I need something for protection, something that's gonna keep my energy up. He said, I got you. So, what is this in front of us right here?
So this right here is an Argon pyramid. So if you've seen the pyramids in Giza, what it is, it's pretty much crystals and metals are organic and inorganic layered on top of each other. And what it does, it creates pretty much a beam straight up, just like the pyramids do to the constellations. But what it does to your environment, it helps plants grow faster, cleans the energy, helps transmute negative energy to or dysfunctional energy to functional energy to cleanse the energy in your environment.
Okay. Last thing before the turn. I know I'm a big book reader, right? So I was at the Barnes and Nobles. Came across this book called Crystals for Healing. I literally like texted him like, "Yo, bro, this book reminded me of you," so I bought it. Because, like I said, it was just a stage where he had crystals, the dashiki, and I wasn't really in tune with that type of lifestyle, man. I was just like, man,
I was wearing dashikis.
yeah, he was wearing dashikis, bro. He was wearing dashikis on chains. I was like, yo, he's really just in nature. I'm gonna call him nature. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was just me. I even came up with a saying. I said, my man went from walking in nature to be in tune with nature. I was like, man, what you got over there, brother?
All right, so my question would be like, what sparked your interest in the knowledge and information that you subscribe to now, currently?
The journey, just like most people, I grew up, or at least grew up Christian. I ain't go to church though, but
yeah, honestly,
grew up Christian. At least that's what my mother and my family subscribed to.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got into. My mom bought me a Black Panther book, and then I got me into Malcolm X. My mom took me to go. She took me to go see Louis Farrakhan. I think it was like 2007 for my birthday. She didn't know that changed my life.
Wow,
right
for your birthday.
Yo, she was just like, my mom was like, my son is just so pro-Black. But it's funny, like she put me on to that, or she set me to that path. And so I went to Savior's Day. That's what it was. It was Detroit, Michigan at Ford Field. She got me dope seat. We was like on the field, like. So I went from there. Then I started. For me, it was a lot of hate being preached, and I'm like, hey, we all human. I understand. I get why, but it's like, yo, we all human. So I started going into spirituality once my sister transitioned. I started going into plant medicines. Then I went into, I started practicing, or what someone would call a Galactican. And then from there, I got more rooted within self. And so I don't necessarily practice any spirituality. I understand that spirit or breath is the reason for my being, but more so I don't really subscribe to a particular one.
Facts. I like the breakdown. A lot of people will call that a system of common customs, where you take customs and you actually pick what works for you and discard what doesn't. And I like the fact that you had enough cerebral capability to find the customs that best suit you and your purpose. You know what I mean? A lot of us, we really don't rock like that. We just follow what everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? Like we were saying prior to the camera rolling, a lot of people is tapping into this whole being woke now, and people are calling people hoteps and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that you actually, why you chose your particular path, and you know what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Okay. I got two questions for you. Well, somebody just asked in the chat room, what fraternity are you a part of?
Black and Gold, baby. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Inc. Delta Theta Chapter, Texas Southern University.
Okay. TSU. Yeah, TSU. Like Megan said, let's get back on. Let's get back on stuff now. Like I said, this dude has many talents. I actually was a part of one of his retreats. One of his retreats actually helped me out a lot. But people really I don't really believe in astrology. Let me just say this. This is what happened, man. He introduced me to some powerful sisters there. We call them goddesses. We call them goddesses?
We call them goddesses.
Okay. We call them goddesses, man. And this is how I literally operated, right? One woman was on one side. She did the holistic health preaching. I went over there, got my vital signs read out, found out how my organs is running. I was like, cool. I went to the other room, to the astrology room, and a woman broke down my natal chart, and everything matched up what was wrong with me and what was right with me in each one. So it made me think, okay, this is not coincidence, because they're in two separate rooms. So it's got to be some type of energy or power that makes what it is I'm being told somewhat aligned. So I do want to thank you for that. That helped me out a lot, even with the Reiki session and things of that nature. Like it's a total spin. I'm gonna tell anybody who's within Texas or you're willing to travel. I don't know if you're still doing retreats, man. I don't even know if you do. I'm just saying, I'm about to sit there and go to one of these retreats. I'm about to literally stay there. I don't even know if you do that anymore.
Just tap in with me.
Just tap in. Just tap in.
I can at least connect you to the right people.
Oh man, last thing. What was that thing you used to talk about? It's a flu shot, man. Some you used to yeah.
Why not a flu shot, bro?
What's it called? What's it called?
It's called Hape.
Okay. Explain that.
So Hape is pretty much where I was getting my from was native to Brazil, but you can get it from Brazil, Peru, different places of pretty much Central South America. But what it was is vines, barks, tobacco grinded up. And when I mean tobacco, not necessarily American tobacco, but natural tobacco. It's grinded up to a fine powder. And what you do, I administer it through a tepe. So it's like pretty much something like this, blow through here. This goes through your nose. And different hapes do different things, but particular one that day was it aligns your chakras. Also, pretty much get the mucus out of your get the mucus out your nose, esophagus, clears your drainage system, very grounding. So you might see some people get like feeling sick or wanting to throw up, but it was getting down deep, dense energy. So different. And around that time, my partner at the time, I remember she had the flu. And what we did was gave her some Hape, boom, she got ready in 4 hours.
That's holistic health, baby, man. The last thing I say about that experience, man, I went from blowing out some tissue. I had to use my whole shirt. I had to throw my shirt away after this experience. That's how much mucus was inside my body. Like he walked with me, sat me down, like just sit down. I'm like, hold on, man. And I breathe like I'm breathing out like this, man. Like it shoots up in your brain. So at first I was like, it's nothing. Yeah, but when that thing started taking flight in my body, man, I blew out so much mucus. But at the next day, I felt better. That's the crazy part, man. Holistic health, baby.
Right. So I got a question, man. Okay, you was introduced to the knowledge and the information like a pretty fair, say, a young age. Fair to say. So
20.
Okay. So, like, what was your life prior? Like, what's your backstory? Like, a lot of people be like, man, I got into knowledge and information because I was on the run from the police. You know what I'm saying? I had 5 cases. You know, so a lot of people have these basic stories.
Yeah, people have stories. Okay.
I just came out of prison. You know what I mean? So, like, what's your backstory as to like, you know what I mean? How were you living prior to the change?
I was living a life of suppression and didn't know it. I was living a life of suppression, repression, and depression. But it looked like what it looked like to the public. Going to college to get that degree, like on some college dropout type stuff.
I'm sorry, this is the way you did that. I'm sorry, keep going, man. Yeah, what are you doing? You ain't doing that. You should keep your ass in school. That's me.
Yeah, so pretty much I was following the path of my sister. You know, my mom, she didn't go to college until I got in college, but she was preaching, hey, you're going to go to school, get you a degree, get you a nice job. I followed my sister on that path. She graduated from Michigan State University. Go green, go white, MSU, Spartan. Woo. But what happened from that, where the disconnect or the, what we say, enlightenment, my sister had transitioned through a car accident. She had a brain aneurysm through birth control. And then car flipped everything. And then after that, like, life changed completely. After that, I probably went back to school like another year, but I just wasn't in it. Dropped out of school. I remember being in a chemistry class, and I was reading a book on melanin. And I was hot. Like, I asked the teacher, like, why we at a HBCU? And I'm in chemistry, and we ain't learning nothing about melanin.
Melanin.
And
666.
He couldn't answer that question, and right there I said, all right, I'm dropping out of school.
Wow.
Okay.
He said melanin.
Very powerful. Very powerful. The first book I tapped into about melanin.
He was black, right?
Yeah.
It was TSU. I just want to make sure. So the black man didn't know about melanin. What we teach. This is what we teach. All right.
Crazy shit we got in common, bro. Like, I think around the age of 12, it was pivotal for me. I'll be quick. 12 years old, my father in his childhood, he got really close to this older white lady. She worked with my grandmother. And she came to me. She was like, she knew, I was my father's son. So she was like, hey, do you read books? I'm like, Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, what books you want to read? I was like, Black History. I don't know. You know,
You say something that sound good. You say
So-
something that sound good.
So she gave me a book, the Atlas of African American History,
Mm.
and as so, that's how I got in touch with Malcolm X and Nation of Islam. I had to read about it at 12 years old, and then later on in life, I made another pivotal decision that was opposite of everything I just read. But yeah, you know, everybody got a story. You know, what I mean?
Everybody's
So-
story.
Did you marry the white woman? Did you marry the white woman?
Huh? No, no. I'm talking about like, you know, you get into,
That's okay.
you get into like, you know what I'm saying, maybe some stuff people didn't teach you about that can help you, and then you go and make like negative decisions.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, you're getting off the porch, you know, that's 12 years old. You know,
Jumping off the porch.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright.
But yeah, have you read the ISIS Papers, bro? That was the first book I read about
Yep.
that tapped into another.
I watched. She had an audio or video, and I watched that. That was around the weekend that my enlightenment happened. It was. I remember it was All-Star Weekend when it was in Houston,
Mm.
and me and my partner at that time. I remember us being in a room, and we were just lights off. We were just sitting there, and we were just like, "Yo," I'm like, "You notice it just got darker in here?" And she was like, "Yeah." And right there, that's when I started having visions. That was like my first time having visions. But I say that because that was the same weekend, and I was watching the ISIS Papers.
Mm.
Okay, all right.
Now, this is one thing I'm gonna commit both of y'all on, right? Brother to my right was the one who introduced me to get in tune with nature, humanity, stuff for that aside on the spiritual side. The brother on the left of me was like, yo, you need to get in touch with Black economics. Started learning about your people. So that's why this is actually powerful to actually have both of these presents, because they were both the glue to who I am now today, right? Like I said, at one point in time, if I didn't have the individuals I had next to me, I would be who I am, right? It's questions they asked me when I couldn't answer. It made me open up and be like, all right, bro, let's see what you're talking about.
Okay.
That's one of the main goals right there, man. So tell me right now, if you can go back in time, say anything you would change, if it's possible. Say anything you would change.
No,
Nothing at all?
no, this was a hard ass path, but it was necessary
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a palm tree. You only can go as high as deep as your roots.
Mm.
And so all that shit I went through, and you know, it varies on the gradients or it varies on people. Everybody went through something, and most people, if you look at my life, it's like, yo, you didn't really go through shit.
Mm.
Like, you know, I had a mom who took care of me, made sure I had a roof on my head, clothes on my back. I had food to eat every day. However, just emotionally, I was fucked up, and not having a father. I started as an adult. Now I understand the needing of both masculine and feminine energy, or parents, really.
Mm.
I went through a lot of depression at a young age. You know, listen to Joe Budden, listen to all that sad ass music. Like, Joe Budden. Yeah, boom. Me too. I'm smoking blacks. I'm in the house smoking blacks.
No, weird, bro.
I'm smoking blacks listening to 10 minutes, bro. Joe Budden.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe, bro. I appreciate you. Joe and Kid Cudi. Shit.
Yeah, bro. That's
I'm just sitting there laughing like, yo, I'm smoking cigarettes.
Hey, man, you know. So, your sense of humor, man. Where do you think you got your sense of humor from?
Shit. I realized, like, comedians, a lot of people who have a good sense of humor is dark as fuck, or it came from a dark space.
Mm.
And you know, when it's dark as hell, you gotta bring some light. So I became more humorous, but once I started learning who I was, but I had to smile through some pain.
Okay.
Man. Whew. Okay. Look, my turn? All right, you just gotta make sure it's my turn. All right, brother. What is something that has changed your life now?
What has changed my life now? I got introduced to a group called Self Perfected. That shifted everything because it brought all together why I was seeking so hard, why or what I thought spirituality was, why my finances would be unstable. Why was I unstable? Why I be triggered so easy? Or that was the thing. That was the game changer.
Wow. Oh, okay. I like that.
I almost touched myself, man.
I like that.
Shit.
So, based on the conversation, man, what would be your ideal black woman mentally?
So, my wife, no,
You said that low. What'd you say?
my wife.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Man. Black men don't cheat. Get them goddamn cameras.
Black men don't cheat if you live by principles.
I'll take a sip of that.
Well, a woman that's, of course, mentally into developing herself or perfecting herself. Correction, my bad. Old paradigm. Perfecting herself. Who's into business, looking to have children. But then, one of the big things was I already had a child before my wife, and she ain't that was a part of me, and she accepted that. And when stuff was getting rough, or just in life before she became my wife, and she was just my friend, or at that time I'm saying that's the home. She was always there to push me and help. We back and forth reflected each other to help each other mentally. And mentally, emotionally, spiritually at that once upon a time. Yeah, that's what it was. Cool. Or that's what it is.
Cool. And the reason I asked, bro, because we have this like red pill community now, and red pill community, in my opinion, would be like black. Well, I'm saying there's a lot of black men out there who
that's the black man
gain the knowledge of quote unquote like this negative side of feminine nature, and they kind of like, I feel like they attack black women when it's necessary and sometimes when it's unnecessary. So I felt like it would be powerful to ask somebody, more knowledge based on other things to give their opinion of the ideal black woman. Because, we know the flaws, on both sides, black men and women. But I think it's important to get a different perspective on it, like being in tune spiritually, like a lot of guys that's quote unquote spiritual or knowledgeable, they be like, man, I can't find a woman that'll get on my program. So for you saying that you're married, it's powerful to ask you that question, because I feel like if you're really about what you say as a black man, knowledge wise and spirituality, whatever, you will find a woman that will submit and play according to your program.
Right.
But some guys, it's like, I'm just so smart, and that's why I'm single as a black man. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to ask, man.
You're stupid.
What it is and I'm kind of having this cognition or epiphany now. But there are a lot of times the reason why black men are attacking black women is really because, one, the captain obvious is they're attacking themselves, and they're just outwardly expressing it to the black woman. But what it really is they're not attacking the woman, they're attacking the masculine nature that the black woman has adapted to.
Right. We have to have it, man.
I don't even know what I did.
Okay. The reason why that black woman adapted that masculine nature, though, is because black men is being pussy. And angry women creates weak men, or angry women creates weak boys. So you're growing up in a household, single parent mother for a majority of us, and so she mad at the father whether he's alive or not. She pissed at him. So boom, then you got the woman just saw the baby and that son. That's kind of was the case for me. My mom did it with good intentions though, because she like, yo, he don't have a father. She overcorrected. And what that does is that man, and it could be vice versa, that man or that sister, what she was really going on, she's looking outside, or he's looking outside and not looking at within. The part that you're frustrated about, that a woman can't get on your program, is because you're not on your own damn program.
No, man, I'm on my program, man. I don't know about that, man. I'm gonna get mad. One guy, he's still talking Spanish. No, man, I don't know what you're talking about, man. All right. So let's have fun with this. Like, okay, look, I believe all three of us came from single parent household, right?
See.
All right, look, it's three of us right here. Out of us all three being a single parent household, what instilled in your mind saying, I want to be married? Because we're in a time where black men are like, I don't know, I'm about getting married at all. You know, it's just a business, man. Like, why would you do that? And I'm hearing people like, man, alphas don't get married. I was like, man, bro, what the fuck is going on these days, bro? So I gotta ask, man, as a young black man, what made you say, look, I come from a single parent household. Mm-hmm. I know I've had a child on the outside, but this is the path for me. Like, it's, like I said, I see people don't talk about marriage. I think marriage actually became a topic that started getting hot like a couple years ago. It's been very taboo. People haven't been talking about getting married for a long time. Majority of the time, I see, like, when we have a conversation with other black men that's married, they'll be like, don't get married. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? They're like, yo, don't get married. So go ahead and lay that on the table, man. I was happy when I found out you was married. I said, oh, shit.
So, the reason, okay, so first off, I had a whole bunch of resistance to getting married. I was like, hell no. Like, I had resistance to getting in a relationship at first. I'm like, nah, bro, I just got a relationship. I need to take my time, be out of here, you know, find myself, find out who I am.
Oh, okay. You wasn't free in the free in the dick. Good.
That's some bullshit, though.
Yeah. That's what it is.
So, what it was is that single parent household, I started to see, once I had a daughter, I started to see like, oh wait, both parents is needy. And my mom couldn't control that. My father died of cancer. My mom could not control that. But they wouldn't have been together anyway, based off what I know, based off what was told to me. But I didn't just get married. That's the one thing. Like, I don't want people to get the notion that, let me just find a sister and get married. Like, no, fam, that's not it. I got married with principles. I had a relationship agreement. Me and my wife both had our own relationship agreement before we got into a relationship.
Man, bro.
So we written out our relationship agreement. What was my non-negotiables? What were her non-negotiables? And if it was some stuff that was no, then we'd be like, hey, it's all good. We not meant. It's
non-negotiables, bro. People don't understand that.
And the thing is, you got to be self-honest. Because a lot of people are like, oh, man, and they hate that, like, they mind or they hate it. I can't fuck with that. I don't really agree with that. But you know what? It's cool. I'm gonna go with them. I can change them. And
the molding process.
I was on self-honesty. Like, no, I ain't trying to change nobody. I already did that. Only person I can change is myself. So we had relationship agreements. Then after that, I had a mentorship that helped me work through that. And I also I did self-forgiveness. So that's a writing thing. I did self-forgiveness. And first off, you need self-awareness.
Self-awareness is sexy.
Self-forgiveness. And then the sexy is all of it is self-course correction. And boom. Okay. And I got married with principle.
Touch this one. That's what I do and get out of you, man.
I ain't never heard self-correction yet. Shit, it's just self-awareness.
Right.
If this is what I learned when I just had self-awareness. Like, you like, oh, I got self-awareness. I fucked up. Because you're like, oh, the universe, I know everything is my fault or everything that's happened to me is because of me. But then if you just got self-awareness, you're going to fucking shame yourself and blame yourself for every goddamn thing. And then you go into apathy. So that's a lower vibration than anger. So you got to have self-awareness, but then you got to have self-forgiveness. That helps release the shame and, you know, the apathy. But then if you just leave it at that, that old shit is going to go back and fill up the space. The universe don't like empty spaces. So it's going to fill it up with something. So that's why you got to self-course correct. And,
right. And that process is never ending. You know what I mean? And when you go through that self-awareness process, the shock value, that shit had me so depressed. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was had me just ready to jump off fucking freeway. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? And then also tapping into more information, the more you know, the less you know. So that shit had me just angry at everything. Like, I was just seeing salt. I just get a full lecture about salt and argue with somebody about salt. You got black pepper? I argue about that shit too. I was just
black pepper. You know what black pepper do to you?
You know what I mean? So that's great that you made it past all these steps, because a lot of people just think, hey, you know, this shit is, you know, it's fun, it's glamorous. But I would say any shock value that you adapt to, being self-aware, and then tapping into the knowledge and information to give that corrective action, it's a very hard process and it's never ending. You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
Man, okay. This is one of my favorite questions. I used to say this for the end, but I got a lot of questions for you. I ain't gonna be lying.
let's go.
What is one item that's valuable to you that's tangible, and one item that's non-tangible that's valuable?
My computer.
Yeah, okay. What do you say? My computer. All right, go ahead.
And that's tangible. And
Non-tangible.
non-tangible is living a life with principles.
Mm.
I don't give a fuck about love. That shit's an emotion. That shit move like the ocean. And my love is based off of feeling.
Mm.
But if you living by principles, love is based off make love real. Love is an action.
Mm.
But when it's a fucking feeling, hey, if somebody upset, they're like, I ain't fucking with you today. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
And I experienced that shit. And I was like, I gotta redefine what I think love is.
Mm.
So now, love, when I do say love, it already comes with the principle, make love real. It's actionable things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's my tangible intent.
Okay.
So, what's your concept of happiness, man? And if it truly exists to you? Because I hear this word a lot. People, because you brought up emotions, and people always bring up this happy word. So, what is your concept of happiness?
Now, we could ask him that question. But we had not to interject with his, but it'd be two questions. So what he said, what is your term of happiness? But we also had a topic was, you have two options. Do you do what's right? I mean, do you do what makes you happy, or do you do what's the right thing?
So, tackle the latter one first. If you don't do the right thing, you're not happy. And happiness is most people, and that's me excluded. I'm still working through this process, but happiness is defined through your ego, and it's very subjective. And what I mean through your ego is the system, or we're gonna take it to a movie. Your ego is the matrix. So a lot of people like, oh, the ego, they really don't, it's my conscious mind. No, the ego is the matrix, is the system that is put within you. Mm-hmm. And so your happiness been manipulated since birth or since you've been a child.
Mm-hmm. God damn.
Because guess what? We can see, everybody know that you need money to breathe. Pretty much, money is up there with air. Mm-hmm. But you got hit with the Disney program. And the Disney program, what money is, okay, most of the people who are wealthy is the mad person, is the bad person, is the evil person who always doing somebody shady. Mm. And then the poor righteous teacher or the poor righteous person, this nigga broke. But you don't want to be, everybody looking like, yo, I don't want to be that mean or that bad person or who always shitting on people. Mm-hmm. So you got a programming that, unconscious programming that money, you know, that shit, you can't do, that shit is bad. Mm-hmm. So happiness is really, for me, what happiness is changing the system.
Huh. Revolutionary?
That revolutionary, when I think of revolutionary, that ties to, I have the association with fighting or protesting. That shit don't work. Cool. It's a waste of breath.
I got another question, man.
Right there, so, he get hit with questions.
Go on, man. So, in your perception, what should every black family own? You know what I'm saying? It could be anything. However long you want the list to be, what should every black family own?
A computer.
Okay.
A home.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Insurance policies.
Insurance policy? What kind?
Depend on your person, but whole life preferably.
Mm-hmm.
But whole life, long term, that depends on your age.
Mm-hmm.
Family.
Mm-hmm.
Every black family should have family. You know, if you can, you know, everybody had their preferences nowadays, but if you could have a husband and wife, yeah, and emotional stability.
Ooh.
That's some shit. I like that, man. I like that.
That ain't the insurance part. Get insurance. I ain't go fund to nobody. Let me stop being an a-hole. Let me go fund to nobody, bro. Yeah, I might be an a-hole for that. I might be an a-hole for it, but it's really the honest
I'll
shit.
be that asshole. I'm not sending money to GoFundMe. Right? That person was irresponsible and only thought about them damn selves and didn't think about their children and moving forward or the family.
Bro, burial insurance start off for like younger ages at like $20.
Yeah,
It's $20. It's not big. It's not big, but hey, you know, people don't want to spend money on shit that's really worth it. But anyway, okay, man. So you got the family. Is it possible to hear some set of rules y'all set for yourselves? Because I think it's important that we actually hear from, beings on an eye level that we can always get in contact with, and not just celebrities. Because people always want to know what the fuck celebrities do.
Straight up.
And I'd be like, yo, that's really the most poison that there is out there. Is mimicking people that live a high life and you live a low life, or you live an average life, or you just living.
Or resisting.
Yeah, pretty much. Go ahead and break it down, man. What are some things y'all put in still within y'all house?
Investigate all things. So what's good or what we perceive as good or bad, there's really no such as what you define it as, and that's based off your programming.
Man.
Self-honesty. My wife deals with her problems. I deal with my problems first. Then I come to my wife once I work through my part. And why? Because my partner is a reflection of the mirror. So I have blind spots. And she can see blind spots that I can't see and vice versa. We do what's best for all. And so all is animals. And what I mean by animals as in how the way that they're killed or nurtured, plants, economic structures, people, make love real. Love is an actionable things, actionable steps. Body is a temple. That's just a couple few. I go by the destiny principles. About 13 principles, and that's where we started our structure, our foundation of our relationship.
Jesus Christ,
I like that, man. I like
that.
You know what's going through my mind the whole time? You know what's going through my mind the whole time?
God damn it, that's a highlight.
This is a highlight right there.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
It's not so much of a question, just saying if you can relate. A lot of times being a particular kind of black man, it's like you have to remind people, first, I'm a man, and then I'm a black man at that. And it's particular ways, you know what I'm saying, we're going to engage in anything, conversations, respect, whatever the case be. So being a black man is actually a black man, you know what I mean? Like, you have a foundation, you have principles, you have a code of ethics. What is your experience on a day-to-day basis, just redefining that and establishing that? Do you find yourself having to establish that more so?
All right, and this might rub some feathers, but
it's all right, I'm still fly.
If you subscribe in a color, you're thinking too small. And people will say, yeah, but you know, we live in America, we black, they do this and that and do that to us. I hear that. I understand that. And if we using Nation of God's Earth language, you got to understand that. And what I mean by that, those things are happening to you because there's points within you that you have not addressed. So there's programmings that you have got when you were younger that show you all our leaders get assassinated.
Oh, man.
So when you have that program, and I'm still working through that, but it's hard for you when you like, man, I want to change the world. I want to do this for my people, or I want to do this for my people. And you see niggas like Nip get shot. So it's like, damn, you going somebody, you got to say, fuck your hood. Or then you see people like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey. So you seeing all our leaders get assassinated. So there's a program within you. It's like, no, bro, I can't do it. Or I shouldn't do it. And it's unconscious. Consciously, you're like, hell yeah, I want to raise up. But it's a program running in the back that you don't even know.
Dad said that there was a situation that's going on with Al Sharpton. When Al Sharpton was like supposed to be the person that step up, he said, nah, fuck that. I seen what they did. So that's really something that's really kind of big.
And the reason why I asked that question is because on a most basic level, if people would really just give their honest opinion of the average black man, no one would really expect like you and how you perceive yourself. They would expect the opposite. You know, you gotta be hood, you gotta be a gangster, you gotta be a thug. So that's why I asked the question. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, he goofy, bro.
That's why. That's why. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't saying, because we get it that people, you know what I'm saying, demean themselves at the same time and they subscribe to color, but.
Well, let me add to that, though.
Go ahead.
I've been hood, or at least what I thought was hood. You know, when you grow up in a hood, some part of you got to fake a hood, especially if you. I was the one who had to fake a hood, even though I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was around hood people, so you can't. You know, I couldn't be soft. So
right.
I faked being hood. I've been in situations where I've been shot at, where I should not have been there, or should not have been shot at. I've also been the person that, oh man, he's soft, he a pussy. This nigga cry. Oh, he cries, he sings. This nigga writes poetry. Like, oh, he has feelings. I've been on both. You know, the human mind has a tendency to think in polarity, in extreme polarities. But you know, it's sort of like a Native American story. It's about just the wolf. You got that vicious ass wolf and you got the chill wolf, but they both are you. You just need to know the time when to be that and use properly emotions properly, or really we have mis emotions, and we may be applying which wolf to be at the wrong time.
Right. I actually know that story very well. It's it was basically a young boy was asking the elder. He's like, "Hey, there's two wolves." He said one was going to fight for existence. He said, "Which one to win?" He said, "Whichever one is the hungriest." So, if you tap into the vicious side, that's the person you're going to be majority of the time. Whoever you feed out of those wolves is who you're going to naturally tap into. Like, look, even on my wrist, my spirit animal is a wolf. I understood that at a young one too.
I got a coyote.
Yeah.
I thought it was a wolf when I got it.
Get out of here, man. I'm sitting there talking to you. Coyote. Oh, man. That's crazy, man. But yeah, so like, even my spirit animal is a wolf, and I understand, like, yo, it's very much two different sides of me at the same time. So it'll be a side that's going to be the one that wants to be in a soft nature, basically where image actually matters. And there's going to be a side of me that's like, yo, fuck that. We got to do whatever the fuck we want. I even tried to tell Kyle, like, oh, Shakur, I tell him, like, yo, I said, okay, the best way for me to actually tap into this is for me to be a certain wolf, but also be able to market the other side of me so people don't think it's all fun and games. Right? If a person has only seen you one way 100%, they mistaken you for a whole different person than who you truly are. So that's the power of casting image to where you can work to your advantage, or it can be a disadvantage. So one of my disadvantages, I'll even say for myself, even when it comes to family, my family has always known me, has seen me one way majority of the time, right? Mama's baby boy, we'll call it. Mama's baby boy.
Jody!
So, Mama used to, I used to have situations where my mom couldn't believe the activities I'm participating into, right? I get in my first fight. Not my baby boy. He comes here all the time, right? Mama finds out I curse. Nah, not my baby. He don't curse at all, right? I'm getting older now. Hey, what's going on at school? You say you being kind of violent. Like, hey, listen, I'm now at the stage where I have to adapt to my environment, right? That's another thing that we don't talk about is when growing up, we start adapting to the people around us, right? The statement you had made, I thought of Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar made a statement saying, hey, look, I'm only active when I'm with the homies. When you're with the homies, you become a whole different, you're going to be the person who you're around eventually if you don't know how to pull yourself out of it at times. So you're only gonna be in trouble when you're around trouble. Let's just be honest. You're only gonna be in trouble when you're around trouble. So, like I said, because I always was, like I said, I understood like there's two sides of me. Once I understood, hey, if I act this way, I can get away with this, but they only know me to do this, so I can do that. So it's like each parent seeing a different side of you that they can't believe because they haven't seen both of you at the same time. It's manipulation if you want to call it, but at the same time, it becomes just who you are.
All right, I like that. Go right with it.
Right.
All right, so music wise, bro, in hip hop, who you rocking with? You know what I'm saying on the artistry. Like, if you could pick an artist that describes your whole thought pattern, lifestyle, who would it be?
Gotta be one.
Just all right, give me two.
All right.
Give me 3.
Three.
All right. Give me 5.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Well, so it's like different parts of them that kind of integrate.
Mm-hmm.
But Nipsey was very influential with me, particularly business and how he cared for the people. Hove or Jay-Z on pushing the culture forward. J. Cole just being himself and like not compromising. Kendrick Lamar for just being always looking to step the bar up and be the sharpest that he can be. Yeah, that's the ones off the top. Oh, and my bad, Payroll Giovanni, bro.
Man, Payroll Giovanni, Detroit, man, let's go, bro. God damn it, I gotta play that song. I gotta play Payroll song after this, man.
Hey, that's Boss Your Life Up, gang.
Boss Your Hey, look.
But I live by that Boss Your Life Up.
Yeah, man.
Everybody just take incremental steps to boss your life up.
Man. Okay, that's music. Give me what about black individuals? Who is somebody like that you say you kind of molded yourself after, or somebody who inspired you? Outside of hip hop.
Okay, outside of
music. Outside of music. Okay,
even though it's outside of music, Nipsey still inspired me. Outside of hip hop.
Oh, he did business too. Yeah, I got it.
But Nipsey, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Once Upon a Time.
Okay.
And then after that, Jay-Z played a part of it. And after that, I stopped subscribing to looking outside of me.
Ooh. I couldn't even clap for that. I just had to let the cup bag out on that one, man.
All right. Would there be any? I just gotta ask. Would there be any like scholars or authors outside of
like Earl Nightingale or something?
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, like
authors. No?
Yeah. 50 Cent.
My man.
50, especially one thing why I really like 50 Cent as an author, because he pretty much writes, or he has someone write art in our language.
Yes.
Or better correction, our vocabulary. So really 50, Dennis Kimbrough, he was a part of the Think and Grow Rich, but it's called The Black's Choice.
Okay, I know you go.
So I play a position. Honestly, I'm in a space now, I don't really read books.
That's crazy because like we come from the culture where we was all reading at one point in time, reading audibles. I used to be like, hey, yo, turn your car to a university on wheels. Like, listen to audios while you're going to work, whatever you're doing things. But it came to a time where even myself, I was like, yo, I've been reading so much. It's just all about doing at this point. Yeah. So there's a library right in my study room. Like, I touch up on it every once in a while, but I'm in the action stage, right? Think about it, like they said, if books was the way to produce your life or make better income, then the richest person would be the librarian. But we learned like that's not true. So
let me be responsible with my statement then, because that was an irresponsible statement without providing context.
Okay.
Yes, you should read books. That is important. One thing you should know that most of the elitists or the parasitical elite or people who have a lot of money, they don't write their own books. So that's one thing to be aware of.
Whew.
However, read books. Don't get stuck so much in reading books that you do not take action. And the reason I listen to a lot of podcasts, so it might change for somebody else. Maybe books, podcasts, audios, integrate them, switch them up. But also I have a technology that I use that allows me to change differently than most people. So that's where I'm getting to a space where I'm reading less books. I still read books because it still deals with the your imagination, your mind. But I've been learning to get out of my mind and get in my body.
Ooh.
Right. And to add on what you're saying, bro, a lot of times people don't realize it's a time to do certain things. It's a time really to execute and apply. And with so many people indulging in information, sometimes they get lost in that field to where they get so obsessed with learning, they never really get to apply. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying, being physical. If you go into the gym, every season is not going to be bulk season. You know what I'm saying? People have times before they get on the stage, they have to shred, they have to dehydrate to drop particular water weight. Every time you go to the gym, you're not going with the same objective. If so, you're only going to be strong in certain areas and you're going to still have the same weaknesses.
Sure.
So, yeah, adding on to that and going to my next question. What is your diet and nutrition, so to speak? What can you get the people on that?
Right now, I'm eating anything except pork and turkey. But like you said, it's seasons.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut red meat out and then cut in a month for like 2 months.
I mean, goat lately, but that's what my
Go to
motherfucker. It's seasons. I also have seasons like pretty much 3/4 of the year. I'm not eating meat.
3/4 of the year.
So I typically eat meat a lot more in the winter season. And I understand we in Houston ain't really a winter, but because I'm from Detroit. But the cycle, the winter cycle, that's when I typically eat more meat. But I just subscribe to people like drink a lot of water, drink water, eat your fruits and vegetables, do smoothies, get your vitamins and minerals.
You know I love them smoothies, Larry June. Alright. Yeah, do that right there. Okay. I mean, like, you still good? You still good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, all right, let's keep going. Shit, I just had to make sure. Oh man. All right. Give me a quote you live by and a quote you made for yourself.
I go as far as I can see.
Okay.
When I get there, I'll see further.
Okay. I live my life in quotes. Like anybody tell you, like I'm always like you ask me certain things, it's a quote going off the top of my head as soon as I hear it. So I think that's very powerful because you're at a stage where growth is evidently visible, right? And I always talk about once you start growing so rapidly, people start attaching themselves to you, right? And to me, this is where I go between both wolf stage, right? I love the fact people are being attracted to me because of my growth. They can ask me anything, I'm able to give them insight. I can point them to a certain direction. Then a part of me is like, man, bro, I want to fuck up sometimes. Like, I got all this pressure. Every moments like that, bro. I want to know, like, have you ever had, like, moments where, like that, like, your growth is so phenomenal, people attaching to this stuff. Basically, you're becoming a mentor to them. To a point, like, if you feel like you make a mistake, it's like, unacceptable.
So, yeah, I had that point, especially when I was really deep into spirituality. People will reach out to me like, yo, I want to be your student. I'm like, bro, what the fuck you talking about?
Yeah.
I remember this shit when I was little. I used to say, I was in the 3rd grade. Make a short story short. We was in 3rd grade. It used to be no limit versus cash money. So those niggas in that class, they was cash money. In this class, we was no limit. And then, so you know, boys in fight, we be jumping each other. Like not really trying to hurt each other, but you is getting tagged. And then I remember there, I created. I'm like, you know what? I'm going on my own and be there for death row. Oh my god, that's probably where the Shakur started. Oh my god. Oh shit.
Are you figuring shit out?
Yeah.
I was saying like when you're becoming so advanced where people are attaching to you,
attachment.
And then you're like, man, I'm a man, I make mistakes too.
Gotcha. Yeah. I realized that I was didn't like people attaching to me because I had an issue with taking on more responsibility.
It comes with a lot, bro.
So the reason why people are attaching to you is because they're looking at you. A lot of people grew up in the Christian. We in America, majority of people's Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, definitely majority.
they have the
Savior
Jesus
month.
Savior program.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the time we always looking for somebody to save us, and I'm still working on that too. And I've realized that they're looking for me because they see that they're looking at me and I have some type of way to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So I started referring people to systems because systems don't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But also I had to look into myself, what part within me is feeling to latch on to other people because I may be doing it somewhere else because I'm experiencing it in my own life through someone else.
Man, I'm breathless right there, man. Yeah, what you got over there, brother?
All right, so let's just say let's tap into like, you know what I'm saying, hobbies during different emotions. Like if you're angry, what's your go-to? And let's just say you super elated, you amped up, you pumped, you just succeeded at something. What's a hobby that you would go to?
So if I'm angry, pissed, frustrated, sad, I write. I write, and a lot of my what I'm doing in writing helps brings self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have self-forgiveness statements in my writing. And the reason why I write, to get out of my mind and put it on paper and bring it into reality. Reality just means physical material things.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it out of my mind, which your mind is metaphysical.
Mm.
And the physical is the thing, the tangible things that knocking on this table, and I bring it into reality. When I'm happy, elated, I just create more, and now I'm looking to take on more responsibility.
Okay.
My daughter.
And yeah.
Of course.
And the reason why I asked that question, man, because a lot of times people try to separate themselves between anger and then when they're feeling successful. So if you find out that a person know how to create under both quote unquote emotions or states, that's a powerful individual.
Definitely.
Because their mind is fixated on producing something out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you don't want to waste none of your energy.
Mm-hmm.
If it's quote unquote dark, I'm gonna transmutate it. So that was the purpose behind the question.
That's right.
Yeah. Right, because they say like usually when you go through like a bad day, they say or something that's gonna relieve you. They say sex, sleeping, eating, arguing, and fighting. Usually the basic habits that people have. Like when you go through, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna take it out on sex. You're gonna smoke. You're gonna drink. You're gonna try to sleep it off. Like sleep it off is one of the main things people do. They'll try to sleep it off. Like, yeah, I don't want to talk to nobody. So sleeping it off and being lazy or consuming television, anything that takes them off the reality of they still got to go through it. So yeah, that's something big right there, man. Yeah, go ahead.
So when you like, oh man, I'm irritated, frustrated, I'm just gonna sleep. And if someone subscribes to the Abraham Hicks Asking is Given, or the Abraham and Jerry Hicks, one of the things she'll tell you is to take a nap and start all over.
Mm.
But what I would subscribe is to write first, because if you just take a nap, you're suppressing.
Yeah.
And you're creating more pressure that you're not addressing it and you're running away.
Okay.
And it's okay to be mad. Like, am I writing? I'll be mad. Like, bitch, fuck that. Oh, fuck that whole ass nigga. Man, this is bullshit. I write all that. Don't judge yourself when you write. Mm-hmm. And then I use something called an emotional wheel. Mm-hmm. And it's a wheel, colorful wheel, and it has like 4 or 5 emotions in the middle, and there's more emotions in the branch out. The reason why I use that, because it helps me understand or get the proper vocabulary to know what I'm feeling, because anger is general as hell. Mm-hmm. Like shame is general as hell, disgust is general as hell. So as you sad, oh, that's general. Okay, well, what is it? Are you frustrated? Are you feeling rejected? Are you feeling resentment? Are you feeling isolated? And then I look up the definitions for those words. that helps me find out, oh, this is what's going on. Then it usually attached to a childhood memory, and I get it, and it helps clear it. And that's when I go from self-awareness, self-forgiveness, and then self-course correction.
Okay. Man, look, I don't know about you, but I'm a Star Wars fan, man. Totally fucking love it. You have one side to the Jedi, quote unquote, dismiss their dark energy. They don't utilize it properly and transmutate the energy. And then you have the quote unquote dark side. They kind of use that anger and aggression. Both use different types of energies and are able to succeed. But what was dope to me is you had Luke Skywalker, who was born, quote unquote, of the darkness, but adapted to the light. Like he was the balance kind of
balance.
You know what I'm saying?
Duality. I'm sorry, I had to be off.
They whole concept was like they kept looking for people to pick one over the other, and then later on in the movies, you got the strongest people that had both. So it's very powerful to use all of your energy to be able to produce. I think, like you were saying with the Matrix programming, we see anger, we see these quote unquote dark emotions as negative, and we run away from those. So tapping into yourself, being self-aware, you know how to use everything properly. So I got to give you props on that discipline, because I know you're disciplined, you know. So.
All right. I love this, man. We've been shooting a lot of questions at you, man. You got anything for us? I keep shooting.
I'm gonna ask a couple questions, then we can keep that shooting.
He ready? Like, nah, man, I like this.
What did you learn about yourself today?
Today, you?
Yeah, I'll go first. What did I learn about myself today? I would say I appreciate the space of, I'm not going to say so much like-minded people because that's redundant, but I appreciate the space of someone's energy being either at a particular level that I feel it's like we equal on certain levels, and then I appreciate being around people that have succeeded at levels that I've had. Mm-hmm. And my ego is in check enough to be like, okay, I appreciate this brother being here. I appreciate the energy. Mm-hmm. There's no need to fill in blanks or try to compete. At the same time, I can respect it and grow from it at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So we all come from like similar black backgrounds, broken families, et cetera, we all smart, quote unquote. But when you say, yo, I'm married, I built a family, and I got this and I got that, I'm like, okay, cool. There's things that I still can grow towards and adapt from people being in similar situations. Sure. So I would say that's what I learned, bro. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely. Like I said, I appreciate you being there. You know, you definitely dropped some gems. So
for myself, for myself, man, I always appreciate relationships, man. Even in my own like company I'm trying to get off, it was first it was just all about Events and Manifest was just all about time, money, and energy. Then I had to add a fourth component was relationships. People are not really aware of how powerful relationships are. I had a brief conversation with his wife, and during when he was speaking, like I was still like smiling as if like nothing ever changed. I haven't talked to her for like 2 years. I haven't talked to her in 2 years, and it just like called me out the blue. Hey, I was just calling to chat for you. Goddamn, about time, motherfucker! Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just one of those moments like it get easily rekindled. Like, it went from like, hey, I didn't have your number, and I look back, I sent out the whole text thread. So I'm going through like, God damn, this is a great relationship. Like a good, genuine bond was built to a point where that person can reach out and we can connect anytime. Like it's some of y'all that ain't talk to people like 2-3 years, be like, man, fuck that nigga, fuck that up. You know what I'm saying? I got a call, hey, I was like, oh motherfucker, like how you been? Like it was stuff like that. We gotta appreciate relationships because those relationships, like for real, like even with you and your wife, like I love like how y'all was talking about y'all relationship, like. The whole time she was like, yeah, man, so this and that. I'm like, I'm smiling like, shit, I think I'm ready now. Like, I think I'm ready now because, look, it was like, it was like a week, look, it was like a week, like 2 weeks ago, man, I went to a Crawfish Boil. A good friend of mine since childhood was there, right? And we're all sitting outside talking about life. It's blue collar men, it's like one white collar, but we're all talking about life. And I remember there was some people we knew since we was kids. We all know each other since like 9, 8 years old. So I met a couple of friends that was there. Everybody has a family. Everybody's married. I'm like, damn, okay. And I remember talking to one of his friends. I was like, yo, since y'all married, like, how do y'all keep in contact with each other? He said, shit, we play the game for an hour every once a week. I was like, what kind of shit is that? Like, because we always hear that, look, when men get married and have a family, they keep their distance with their homeboys. Like, hey, look, I got a family I got to take care of. They don't dismiss that, and they're really like that. Like, hey, we play the game. And his wife and his daughter, like, really make my day. Like, I'm walking through the house. It's pictures on their first day when they got married, when the child was born. I'm walking around and I kept telling his wife, yo, I really appreciate these pictures. And she was just smiling like, you know, it's just pictures. You know, I really wanted to make sure we get good pictures. I'm like, no. For somebody like me, it's powerful to see my own friend that I grew up with come home to a family. Like, we don't know as many of our friends that come home to family happy. Happy to be home. And they both work and they both do things of that nature. And it was just hitting me in the head like, yo, if this is what family is, man, like, it made me smile the whole time. And I was like, yo, I'm ready for that shit. But I didn't want to, you know what I'm saying, get caught in emotions because they're happy. That's another thing. We look at other people's relationships and want to jump in and be like, yo, they happy, I can be happy like them. It just brought up more self-awareness to me like, yo, this is a beautiful thing when you finally can get married to somebody and share that type of life with. That's why when y'all talk about each other, y'all relationship, I got happy again. I'm like, shit, you know, week after week, it might be that time. Might be that time, but I've been chilling for right now. man. All right. Y'all be making me think about marriage, though, man. I ain't trying to go out right now, man. I ain't trying to go out right now.
Any other questions?
Wait, the first question was, where did you? The second question. What did you hear about yourself today?
I go first. What I heard about myself today, man, is there's always room for improvement and there's always ways I can grow. That's definitely something that I learned. And I would simply say, man, you never know it all. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes listening, I would say I didn't learn this today, but I have a very connection to listening. And a lot of times people just feel like, yo, if I'm smart or if I do this, I gotta let everybody know how smart I am. I gotta let everybody know what I've done. And it's like, nah, I'm humble enough to sit back and observe, you know what I'm saying, appreciate and listen. So I would say those are the things that I learned more so today.
Okay, for myself, like I said, all the conversation I had outside, like I said, I love really talk with your wife, and she was like, "Yeah, you was always like cool, like down there, like you really never tried to like do anything outside of things that made you uncomfortable." Like, yeah, I'm not with that shit. So, like I said, for myself, it's just on a basis. What I heard about myself is just like things that, like growth, like some of the things we don't know about ourselves has actually happened is till we hear from somebody else. Mm-hmm. So we be our own like criticism or something. Like, man, am I even doing anything? Like, I've been studying it, and somebody might be like, man, bro, like, shit, you see all this shit you doing, but you got your head down so much that you don't even know how far you came. Mm-hmm. So it was like I said, the brief talk with your wife, and she was like, you know, like, look at like you still going and moving forward. I was like, yes, ma'am. I was like, the thing is, like, if one vehicle didn't work to get to where I wanted to be, it's up to me to keep continuing that journey to get to where I want to be, right? A lot of us get so set in certain jobs or certain relationships, certain things of that nature, where, like, if things are not moving forward, like, it's like we're scared to move out of it and go back. Like, I'm not scared. Like, we know, like, I had told her, I was like, yo, at the end of the day, we know who's going to keep moving forward. That's just a part of our nature. And that's the part of the people that we surround ourselves with. We surround ourselves with people that are winners and people who are always continuously growing. We're going to grow. And nothing about us is going to change. That's why people attach themselves to it. That's why it's so easy to rekindle that fire, baby. Like I said, I ain't talked to 2 years. Shit, man. I need to call Randy. All right. Anything else?
That's my two for right now.
All right, let's get back to shooting.
I'm done shooting.
Oh, man. Okay. Oh, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Man. Fine, get this one-on-one now. All right, good. In 10 years, no, let's not do the 10 years. Is there a certain reputation you're looking to establish as a family to the community? right? You have some people that be like, hey, look, when we go here, like, I want us to be known for this or known for that. Do you have any type of expectations you have, like you and your wife have set out for each other, being in a marriage?
Change the system, but change the system. Take on more responsibility to support other people getting in relationships.
Ooh.
But other people to get in relationships based off principle, and also having the tools to help them change those things or those inner childhoods, traumas, shadow work, those traumas that's within them, help change and release that. Live a life of principles. I know for me, I know and soon I will be in the near future. I see myself going into politics. Not politics, but because got to change the system. But the difference is what I noticed what most people do, they try to go in by themselves.
Can't do it, man.
Most kings get their head shot off. Or if using the 48 laws of power, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all go in there with the numbers of usually how many sheep it would be per one shepherd, but if you go a bunch of shepherds with that same amount of numbers of sheep, they shoot one, you continue on.
Whew. Somebody pick up the motherfucking baton.
Right.
Keep moving forward.
But you all need to be living by principle.
Right.
Because if y'all are in agreement with the same principle, you know when some money talk comes, when somebody try to pay you out, I ain't got to be concerned on my partner going to take the money, he going to sell me out. No, we live off principle. So I ain't tripping on that. And when I say change the system, let me be clear about that. It's 20,000 children that die every day from starvation. But we live in a first world country, so we don't really see that. But we really don't care. We got social media.
Oh, blinding people.
And so, man, I'm on social media. I got the 45-minute timer, like, oh, I'm still gonna be on her. But
He said a time.
but you know, we should have access to like how the system works is it creates division.
Yeah.
And
Divide and conquer.
there we go. That was a statement I was looking for.
I got you, man. I got you.
So like one part of the system is that, and this don't necessarily happen just in black homes, but it's kind of amplified there. So, boom, you separate the man from the woman. That's one way. Another way is, boom, we're gonna have you work so much for money to pay for bills. And then, because you got to go to work, you got to send your children to the academics system. It's not education. Education is bring from within. It's the academic system. And academics is a study of theory.
Talk to them.
So they put you in the academic system, and your mind natural learning ability is from 0 to about 80 years old. That's when they say that child is like a sponge. So then they put you in their system, which is meant for you to become a worker for the system. Then they teach you their concepts and constructs. But then you got to also take in the fact that pretty much your child is in jail. Yes, that can be extreme, but let me say why I'm saying your child is in jail. Just like in jail, you're around a bunch of people that they just grouped us together. I don't know what Tommy or Tyrone, I'm just sorry for the names, it's just the first one's coming to mind. Tommy, Tyrone, Jimmy, John. You don't know what their parents going through. So that child can come to school, he's bullying because he's getting abused at home. You got another man that's promiscuous, or a woman a little girl that's promiscuous because they've been sexually abused. But then your child is exposed to that. But then you wonder why your child comes home and you wonder why they're irrational. But it's because we're not taking the responsibility as parents to take on the programming or the teachings of our own children. And we're putting it on the system. So that's creating division within a family as well. And so then your child is programmed to pretty much be a worker bee, But what also is messed up about that now is they're automating all the jobs.
Some automation, man.
So your child, a lot of people don't have no tech degrees. A lot of people don't have the vocabulary or the vocabulary and programming to create those things. So a lot of people are pretty much just going to be haves and have-nots. But if you change the system and you do what's best for all, you're creating a system to there's only halves. But that does not mean go to the elite or the people who have money and like, hey, y'all pay more taxes or we take your money and give it back to the poor. Because why, if you're giving it back to the so-called poor or the disenfranchised or the people of lower economic status, because of that low economic status, they are there because of a lack of vocabulary, or another way of saying it, because of their programming. And so that money is just going to go back to the elitists because they have a different programming or vocabulary. So what you do is you get a win-win situation. Jeff Bezos is a slave. How's he a slave? He's a billionaire. Because why? That's a lot of responsibility you got to take on. But also you got to think about all of this. I think it's 1.3, 1.6 people that work for Amazon. But they got them on. I spoke with people that work from Amazon. That shit is crazy. It's like a paid slave camp. And when I say slave, I'm saying a mindset. I'm not talking about abuse, physical abuse, because there's still abuse going on. So that's what I mean, just to talk a little bit about what I mean by change the system. A lot of us are scared to change the system. One, because we got that assassination program. But also, a lot of people got that mindset, and I'm still working on it as well. As in, I gotta look out for mine. I gotta look out for my family. Yes, you need to stabilize, but don't be so selfish. And the last part I would give to that or add to that is, are you really secure if you got $1 million and your neighbor don't, and your neighbor know you got $1 million? You're not secure. You're insecure now. You're scared as hell. You're like, I gotta fucking move because this nigga might rob me. However, if you got $1 million and your neighbor got $1 million, y'all can go outside and build.
Y'all see what he did there? Y'all see what he did there? Oh man, I'm trying to make sure that's it. Y'all see what he did there with the neighbors both? Y'all both have the same. Y'all won't ever collide with each other. It's no need for it, right? Oh man, that was. What are the questions I might want to ask now, man? Shit. Yeah, I gotta mess up with that, man. Okay. Since you talked about the academics and educational system, for your next child, are you looking to homeschool, or how do you plan on going about parenting? Since everything you have spoken.
Yes. So my wife and I agreement was right now we both work.
Okay.
But their agreement is eventually to she educate the children. Because, and we're still working on it, but we're understanding the role. I don't know if the word, lack of vocabulary, I don't know what role is, but we're understanding how a man is created and a woman is created.
Okay.
However, the system has conditioned us that independent women, independent man, I don't need no woman, I don't need no man. And what that does is create instability and division in the structure. And what that does is that's how they're able to conquer and divide.
Oh.
So.
And that's how you get long life working individuals too. If you're single, you have to work till you die. Let me go ahead and throw that out there. Man. Okay. You got anything else, man? I'm about to keep shooting that.
To close that point, so pretty much the roles is going to shift eventually where I bring home the money. I make the money, my wife spends it, I'm the manager of it, we spend it, she spends it. And it's not just like, oh, pimp type talk, I give you the money. No, we're understanding the role, how this is our thing. And we're doing it to create better structures and systems to create for the all. We do what is best for all. And so it's not just for my next child, it's going to take a couple of years for me to do so, but it's also for my child now. And for her, I say both my children, but also for her sister, because I look at her as my daughter as well. Because what I remember growing up with my sister, because my sister and I had different fathers, but when her father would come over and bring her clothes and get her money, but wouldn't do that shit for me. And I'm like, bro, that's fucked up. It's not. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. I ain't his child. I ain't per se. I'm his responsibility. However, I knew how that felt. So with my daughter's sister, I'm like, hell no. You can call me dad if you want to. You ain't got to. My daughter don't even call me dad. My daughter calls me Shakur. I didn't want to create that I'm above you because I'm your parent. No, I brought you. You came in through your mom. We came into this partnership, but you are on. You're new to this plane, or you're new to this earth, or to this reality, and it is up to me to educate you. But you are no less than me. So you don't. If you want to, you can call me dad. But my daughter calls me Shakur, and she's 3. And so I say that point. Then her sister, I'm like, that's my daughter as well, and she has a father as well. But she say I'm her bonus dad.
Bonus dad.
Nobody mad at
bonus dad. She look like bonus. You know? 2 Christmases, nigga.
I got a question on that.
Oh, no, he ready. Okay, you ready. Okay, you loaded up.
Nothing like that. All right, so do you feel any kind of like outside pressure, knowing that you want to construct a family of such? And do you believe isolation is, would it kind of like be the answer in that kind of situation?
No. Isolation leads to assassination.
Isolation, assassination.
And I don't necessarily mean just from bullets.
No.
Your assassination might be internal with your emotion and you depressed. You're not reaching out to nobody.
I'm about to say mentally, fuck you up mentally.
So I have a community. All wealthy people have a community. Some people might call it a secret society. Some people might call it a country club. Some people might call it a fraternity, a group.
A clique, a gang.
A gang.
Well, I knew you were some shit like that. I was waiting.
First off, I'm a part of a fraternity or corporate radio. I am not a part of any type of gang, any type of violence or anything, unless it takes it there. But anyway,
I like it the states that. I like disclosure.
Right. But I'm a part of a group that we are built on principle. So a lot of those children that are being brought up, I'm gonna have them. My children will be surrounded by them and not my so-called blood family until or unless my blood family get the particular type of education, and that is some of this is my responsibility to bring this to my family and help them work through those points. However, if their ego is so strong that they cannot work through those points, my children will be around the people who live by the same principles that I do in that group, because we are all on the same page of that's what we need to do for our children. So, example, we have one of my people in the groups, I would say one of the elders for age-wise and experience. His son is 5 years old. He reads at what we would call a high school college level.
At 5?
At 5. He knows how to code. He knows algebra. He never learned phonetics or whatever that type of grammar, but he knows how to structure sentences, and he speaks as if he's an adult, what we would consider an adult. And that ride ATVs, knows learning about electronics, and he does this at 5. His sister is 3 years old, is reading books. I would guess she's early in development. She's 3, but is getting to the I'm guessing around the middle school area reading ability or processing ability. And she is following the path of her older brother, who is 5. And so they're like the first wave. So I'm seeing that be done. The only difference from what would be my child is the lack of responsibility and vocabulary and programming that I have. And by me being within that group, they're helping me shortcut that so I can be able to give that to and share that with my daughter, their mom, my wife, and my family.
Right. Okay. And the reason why I asked that question, man, because I feel like to dumb it down and make it very simple, let's say you have a kid, you like, look, I don't want my kid eating pork. You let everybody know, look, I'm gonna drop them off, but no pork, okay?
No TikTok.
You come back, they eating bacon. And you're like, God damn, I just told y'all. So that's why I've been more so about isolation in those regards, like having to separate yourselves from like family, people that you're close to, because they just not programming themselves the particular way you are, and having that distance, and then still dealing with that emotional attachment to the distancing process. That's I feel like that's why I pulled that one out, man.
Emotion is a lack of understanding. Emotion is a lack of vocabulary and education. That's really what emotion is. And to get more context to that, there's a difference between emotions and the feelings. And if we dumb it down like Lupe or make it simple,
talk to me like a cocker spaniel.
But a cocker spaniel is not a dog. It's a dog. Okay.
No, you know. Oh, you such a
To keep it simple, feelings are positive experiences, and emotions is negative experiences. And so, if you're having emotions, not feelings, but emotions, it's a lack of education, a lack of vocabulary, a lack of understanding within self. At some point in there, you're confused or unclear.
Huh. All right, man. Yeah, man. I got one final question. One final question. Final. You might want to get a sip of that. Let's see.
You say you might want to get a sip of that.
You might get a sip of that. No. I was letting him get a sip of it. That's all I get a sip of that. Get a sip of that, man. What does your life look like at 60? I know you don't know, but it's. But I'm saying from everything you're saying, from age, becoming an older, grown man, your children, how they doing, like stuff like that. It's kind of far fetched, but it gives people the idea of like how far can you think, like on how much are you really gonna execute. Because one thing I stopped hating was the 5-year theory. I was like, bro, nobody knows. I was like some people really can stick to those 5-year theories, and some people can't. Some people really go day by day. So even though it's kind of far fetched by 60, like we always talk about like what are our social lives going to look like, what is our accolades going to look like, what are our achievements, like what will be like stuff of that nature that we look back on and be like, okay, I lived my life with purpose to a point. I'm enjoying, basically you just enjoy like everything you have done.
All right. You sparked a couple by saying certain words. You sparked a couple things I felt the need to share before I go into that. One, the word purpose. A lot of us have some internal conflict with the word purpose. Because we think, man, what's the purpose, or what is my divine purpose, or what is my goal, or my purpose is one thing, this thing that, what's the purpose of my life? If you look up the definition of purpose, it's a reason for doing something. So there's always different purposes. You have a purpose of me driving over here was to do the podcast.
That's right.
And fellowship with brethren. And then one more, and then I'm going to go to the 60.
No, keep going. This is my last bit.
And so, in our group, or mentor, in our group, because it ain't necessarily mentor, they make it known that they would say it's like, yo, I'm your uncle right now, but I'm your uncle until I become your brother.
Oh shit!
And the reason why they're saying that is because I knew within me, growing up without a father, men that I looked up to or respect, I unconsciously looked at them as father figure. But however, because my father died at a young age, I had a programming where I internalized betrayal and abandonment. It wasn't his fault, but I internalized because I didn't get, because a 3-year-old, I was processing as a child. So my father abandoned me. So I wouldn't build relationships with men because why men that I look up to already got an unconscious programming that you're going to abandon me. So we changed the narrative to, I'm not, because a lot of people have that, okay? Not your father, I'm your uncle. All right, bet. So uncle just, I'm a guide. That's the point of a male figure or a parental figure is to be a guide, to provide guidance and structure.
Correct.
So then it's my uncle. And then I work through my points, work through my programs, my traumas, my triggers, and then boom, now you're my brother. So what my uncles will say to me is when we bring up the what you do in your 5 years, we write it all out what we want to do in our 5 years, and because we have the tools to do so, then they say, okay, now do it in 5 months.
Compression.
I didn't fucking think I was gonna get married until 10 years.
Mm.
I got married in a fucking couple weeks. Because why? I have the support. I had relationship agreements. I did principles. I have the group. And a lot of times we like, oh, you know what? I'm just testing her out.
Mm.
But if that's the woman you think you're gonna be with, what the fuck you waiting on? But I was waiting when I didn't have a life where I lived by principles.
Mm.
So, and everything was, I was getting relationships based off emotion. And when you're in a relationship based on emotion, there's no solid foundation there.
Mm-hmm.
So they can go with the wind. So bring it back. All right. So 60 years. Then maybe 6.
I like that compression.
But I live. That's why I live by that quote. I go as far as I can see. When I get there, I see further.
Mm. Mm.
So what I see right now is look at 5. But my uncle, I know that I want to look at 5, and once I get that clear, and I'm certain on that, I know automatically it's going. Then I got to transmute that to 5 months. So 5 years to 5 months. And so I just know that I have uncles that are around me, uncles and aunties. That how can you get me back if you was loading? I didn't say nothing. All right, okay, so yeah, 60. I've been a part of a group that lived by principles and provided and to help other families, help people get married, start businesses. Was able to be self-sufficient and self-dependent and also interdependent, help change the system, have a couple homesteads, have, I don't want to necessarily say a retreat because we're not running from nothing. But,
Jeez, I never looked at it like that. I never looked at retreats like that till you said that. Golly.
We'll have gatherings or groups, societies, and society just mean group, kind of go, to integrate together to change the system. That's the biggest thing for me, to change the system. Because when people trying to change the system, they think you're fucking crazy. And then you got people, if you were going back to the Matrix reference, when you're trying to change the system, you got people that is in the Matrix that is going to fight for the system. Then you get distracted by the person in the red dress. And then your mom or your aunt or your cousin turns into Mr. Smith. And so you start within a group, and then you expand out to change the system where the world will be that is not 20,000 children that's dying of hunger every day. Everybody got access to clean water, clean food, shelter, clothing, education, science, technology, travel, and or just to keep it basic. People have access to proper education because all this, the whole elite lower classism is based off education or lack of education or a lack of vocabulary. That's how classism is created. Somebody was like, damn, these niggas don't got it. We got to create this system. In the beginning, it may seem nice. It probably had a good, you know what? Everybody can't hunt, so let's create a grocery store. Everybody can't reach a tree. Let's create this grocery store. So it may have started with functional or positive intentions in the beginning, but however, laws are made by aberrated people, and aberrated is people that have a lot of emotional charged trauma or triggered or very trauma-based system. And so to create education and have an education all where this tool that I use that is over 91 million people in the world is at least using the tool, because that then creates a new 1% that is looking to do best for what is best for all.
Okay.
Man,
Like that.
man, I'm spit. As what do they call them? The Europeans say, I'm spit. Yeah, Austin Powers.
So, bro, we definitely appreciate you coming through, doing the interview. Classic interview.
Man, classic. Man, this motherfucker did numbers, nigga. We gonna do good, man.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Anything you want to end off on, anything you want to tell the viewership, you want to put out your social medias.
Social media is Barters World, BARTERS World, WORLD, one word. That's social media. Best way to contact me is through the DM. You can slide through, but don't be on the funny stuff. Just JK. But just playing. The thing, it's a little nugget. Can I get a nugget? It's kind of okay. It's not a small nugget, but it's kind of like a medium nugget. I can share that.
A nugget is a nugget.
Okay, I'm just already did that. I will leave off so two things. There's 3 levels of the mind. You have the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious, or the heaven, earth, and hell, or the proton, neutron, and electron. The conscious mind is your proton, is your heaven, because it's always trying to think positive. Your subconscious mind is the earth or the neutron because it's neutral. And then your unconscious mind is the electron or hell because based off this programming from society or from the matrix or the system, it's negative. Your conscious mind only operates 0.5% of your day. Your subconscious operates 24.5%, and your unconscious operates 75%. The reason why people are stuck in a loop or a time loop is because of a lack of vocabulary. Because your words have some emotional charge. I can call a woman a bitch right now, and a lot of women will be charged. A lot of black people, you call them a nigga, and they're charged. Let a white person call them a nigga, and they're charged. But that's because you have a trauma attached to the word or to the vocabulary. But once you release that, you become free. Or you have the illusion of freedom, because as long as the system is the way it is, you're not free. But I say all that to say, there are tools out here to help you change your programming. Education is the key. And the thing that I would to leave off with, don't ever not investigate or be self-honest to think that you have worked on your program or your ego so much that you're not in your ego.
Mm.
Because that thought right there, you may be in your ego.
Shoot, you think you swimming in your ego if you think you ain't gotta keep improving.
All
Whew.
right.
All right, man. That's all right. Man, y'all know who I am, right? Y'all know who I am. Like, just in case you forgot.
All right. Yeah, most definitely, man. We appreciate everybody for tapping in. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate it all. Talk That Talk Official Podcast.
We out. All right, we out.
Now,
All right, man. Appreciate everybody.